Hey everybody, this video is really about, let me do this, the weekly raids. Somebody had asked me, how am I using my spectres that I have for the weekly raids? So I figured I will show that to you, but I'm going to try to show it to you in a way that doesn't bore you to tears. Because, did I not just ask one of these? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's bring it up here. I had my Spectre fleet hiding in a track base because I haven't finished my quota yet from my group. I got 50 more to go, which is what, I guess 10 more cargo. Oh, it's saying my thing is over. Do I still want to actually do this? Yeah, whatever. I'm doing this for the sake of somebody else, not myself. I'll send just a gunboat in because I want to know if the ships are still there. Because people will core out the ships and whatnot. And if I'm sending a subfleet that's predominantly used for killing off the ships, I don't want to send it in there and realize, oh, well, you have nothing to do. Wow, where did I get the other 500,000 points from? Oh, no, you're supposed to have that much. Okay, yeah, I picked up the, well, that was weird. So I have tier 1, I have tier 2, come on, pictures, you can do it. But tier 3, I'm still missing this siege torpedo and this strike system. So hopefully, I actually only did it this time because I lucked out, got speed system 3 last time, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do these for a while. And then the strike system came out. And the one nice thing about the strike system is what they said was the combat speed does not reduce accuracy. It's like, that's interesting. That's interesting. So so this is what I do. I do it two different ways. Okay, one way is in conjunction with. Actually, let's do this one. In conjunction with my strike cruisers that have the siege cannons on them, they'll come in and take out turrets and stuff, and then I'll use the subs to predominantly take out the ships. Now, having said that, those take on average 4 to 5 hours to repair. So if you notice, when the clock when this clock gets to 3, 4, about 4, in between 4 and 5 o'clock, that's when I turn them around to head them home. Now everybody's screen is different, so I also play this game sometimes on a square monitor. This is a very this is the HD TV sort of size screen where it's kind of rectangle, and on the square monitor the screen cuts off about here, right? It's taller, but it cuts off about here, and you have to learn where you can turn around at. What's your distance? That's one of the things you have to pay attention to. Is what's my distance that's allowable. So predominantly right now, all I care about is the actual ships. The first time you go in here, because the ships have not grouped together, and remember, you surfaced way back here. Don't hang around, especially if you're using kudas. Do not hang around. If you're using kudas, actually start turning before it actually fires the first shot, because all of these is going to start pulling in, and they're going to be in indeterminate locations. Once they've all kind of grouped together, then it's actually not quite so bad. You have a lot more leeway as far as time goes with kudos and with specters than you do with the other ones. Oh, I didn't kill it. Oh, super crappy. So it's not and the one thing that you really got to remember too, if you're a CUDA user and you move into specters, they stay above water a lot longer too. It's not just that they stay below water longer, but they're above water quite a bit, and you got to be careful turning around. Now the weakly rays are nice because the weakly rays, none of these have lasers, so even if they fire when you're above water, if you can go underwater before they hit, then you're safe, and that's nice. That goes for the ships and the turrets. But don't make that assumption that that's going to happen on modern raids. Modern raids tend to have lasers of some kind. Oh, I turned it way too early. Oh, that was a waste of a run. It has too little amount of life left for me to turn it back up to go again. The predominant thing in subs are when in doubt, stay alive. So when in doubt, let it burn another cycle. And while we're letting this burn another cycle, let me fill this interlude with some interesting, not interesting, but just different news on the Alliance sort of stuff, right? So we have the Alliance going, and some people, one or two people might have been asking me the fact that there's a number of lower level people in my group. There's only like maybe 4 or 5 that are in the top tier, and they were like, we're not going to get all of our bonuses. People can't, the majority of the Alliance cannot make their quota. And I'm like, yeah, I know, and that's fine, because in all reality, it's a stretch goal. These quotas should be a stretch goal for people. And honestly, if you're a really high player, the way they set them up, they're not an overly stretch goal. If I didn't fail at 4 of the bases I was trying for, I would have had my quota a long time ago. I have since figured it out, and I only have like 50 points left to get my quota. But the majority of the group, and two other people I think have their quota. One I opened a ticket about because I'll show you, it's all goofed up. The way their scoring is totally goofed. Let me just make sure I don't die when I'm doing this. I have a tendency to talk and not think. Alright, I should be okay. There we go. Okay. One guy, one screen says he meet his quota. Another screen says he doesn't have 1,000 points, but on the same screen it says he met his quota. Open up a ticket for that one because that one just baffled my mind. Because he was in the Rocketeer group, and the Rocketeer group to me is one of the lame groups, and that's actually where half of my Alliance is actually in that group. They're in the reduce the time it takes to build a rocket. I don't care how long it takes to build a rocket. And in all reality, half shit. Probably everybody in that group doesn't really care how long it takes to build a rocket. Because for them, repairing their ships probably takes a lot longer than building a rocket. As me. Unless I really do good on a base, which, the rocket's going to take longer than it is to fix going to be to fix the ships. So the fact that you're going to reduce half an hour off the rockets, whoop-de-freaking do. So the Gunners is good. The one before it is alright. I like the Defender one. Basically, I like all the other ones. I don't really like the first one, the level 1 through 20. I don't really like that one. That has to do with the drop rate and stuff like that. I don't really care about that one. The Navigators, I don't really care about that one. But the one that helps your ship's offense and your ship's defense, those are really good. And the one that helps your base, that's reasonable. Let's do this. So while I was jabbering or whatever, that's me taking out the ships of a hub. That's basically what I do. And then what I do is, as I have time left, I start taking on the turrets. And so, like what I was saying is, if I was very efficient about taking on the turrets, I I would probably get one of these and maybe one of these taken out within the time limit, as well as killing off the fleet. If I'm not overly efficient, I might not totally kill off a turret. And so right now I'm not overly efficient. I'm going to actually be in a wrong spot. What I'm trying to do is you have to normalize somewhere. So I'm against the wall. You can see that this is the wall. And you have to figure out your distance from the wall to the turret, how far it is, and you know, what is your time to turn, your surface time, your underwater time. And I figured out for spectres, it's really, if I'm facing this way, if I'm facing the wall, and I'm right here, I think that's about right, somewhere in here. If I'm about right here, and I'm facing the wall, as soon as I surface, I can tell it to turn around. Okay. Now, you got to note, right now, I'm not facing the wall. So when it surfaces, I need to wait. I need to wait the amount of time it would take to turn to this orientation. And then I can click over here. So let's see, surface, this is what I would click. So we're waiting, maybe about now. And you know, if you're pushing it a little too much, if these fire. And sometimes you actually need to, when you're practicing this, just push it a little bit earlier, a little bit early time until they fire. And then hopefully you didn't push it so much that they fired and you weren't not able to go underwater. So here we're waiting. Remember, we're waiting for that like 4 o'clock mark. You can just sit there until it hits about the 4 o'clock mark, and then we need to tell them to come home. And a reminder: these are not the siege torpedoes with the batteries. These are Cat 3 with the cloaking armor. I don't know what it's actually called, but that's what everybody's calling it. And assault torpedoes. So they have a longer range. These assault torpedoes are the combat speed ones. So that gives me about an extra mile an hour that you don't normally pick up with. See what I was saying? Kind of inefficient. And at this point, I will probably show you just a little bit of it, but I'm not going to kind of really keep it recording the whole way through, because this is the part where it can get really boring really fast. Come on, pull it all in here. I can kill an entire 55 with just these, but it will take, you can do about 2 turrets per engagement. I'm just going to do maybe just this side, and then we'll stop the recording and we'll go do something else. So you gotta remember, find out where on your clock you really care about. I hate it when they do that. See if I can group them together so they won't do it the next time. I pay actually no attention to how much damage this thing has, because all I really care about is these not taking damage. Because predominantly what I'm using these for is I'm using these for extra points while the strike cruisers are under repair. You know, if that's really the case, then so we're going to start over here. Anyway, we got them all turned the same direction this time. And like I said, remember I was saying that because I'm against this wall, and I know that from here to here, if they're facing the wall, from the amount of time it takes to turn around, then I'm safe. You just sort of have to figure that out on your own. That's a real safe area. That's probably a slightly less safe area. You know, find your wiggle room. Find your error, your level of error. Then you just sort of watch your bar. You have to figure out where your bar is. What I usually do is try to be a little conservative, and then let it slip a little bit each time until that one time it shoots at you and you take a hit. But you don't take a big hit, you just take a hit. So since we're going to be doing it here, let's actually pull them down, because we're going to try it for the torpedo. Now, and I'll also warn you that the if you have these kind of ships and you want to do this, the trickiest one is this fella right here. And I'll tell you why he's the trickiest one. And we're waiting because we're not actually facing the wall. He's tricky because he's freaking large, but his center of mass, you know, for what it's going to auto target against, figuring out exactly where you need to be to hit him is tricky. And in trying to figure that out, you know what I'm saying, you got the for me the 4 o'clock mark, right? If I'm moving in and I hit my 4 o'clock mark, do you know what I do? I turn the ships around, even if I did not hit, even if I didn't even get any shots off. Now here, a torpedo turret, it doesn't even, you don't even have to burn the time. But even with that, you still want to go in and turn it around and bring it back, because you don't really have time to bring it down and do much damage. So we'll bring it here, and then we'll turn it around. And these are usually the funny parts when I watch people spectate, and you know, they can't see the sub when it's underwater. And I was like, this has got to be the most boringest thing to watch ever, because it's almost the most boringest thing to ever. See, you notice that I had maybe I didn't necessarily turn it any earlier than I would have, but maybe I was a tad closer, just a touch closer than I normally am. So that's what you want to find. You want to kind of live on the edge, because the closer you can be, you might get an extra shot off. But you don't want to actually take too much damage, because you got to remember, submarines have, I think they have 3 times the repair time that a surface ship does. So it's, you know, it's not a good thing to have to repair subs. And I think the repair time for subs, I think they're all the same for whether they're Predators or Cudas or whatever. It's just the, you know, the Cudas and Spectres, they have more armor, so you'd notice it a lot more, right? So this one right here is a very typical sort of run. It's up, we turn, coming back around. The left and right, so if the Spectres were over here, usually it's somewhere down this line. I've learned from this sign, somewhere right in here. I'm not a huge fan of going bottom up or top down. They're similar in that the turrets are up here in this sign, and you need to be below this line, somewhere down here. But I'm not totally sure always when that is. So we're just going to pull these guys away. You kind of get the idea. That's basically what I'll do. And then when there's this guy, I make an artificial wall. So for example, I see my wall here and I see the turret here. So the turret's like this distance. So I usually will make this kind of thing, where this guy is roughly the same distance. So I pretend, okay, this is the wall I'm used to. So I need to be somewhere in here, right? I do something like that. You have to find your proportions to make it all sort of work out right. So let's see, those guys will just sit there. That's basically what I do, kind of in a nutshell. And I'll show you these funny things. I sent in a ticket about this, but this is hilarious. Watch this. So like this guy, he has a quota of 100%, 985. However, Midnight Terrier, if you go to here, Midnight Terrier says he has 1,000 points. The same guy, 985, and the other screen is 1,000. Both of them do say he's done with this quota. I can't rank him up. I don't get the message to rank up because well, this guy's already in my level. Because this doesn't say 1,000. That's what I said in a ticket on. There's also a funny one. Let's see, where'd it go? If I go by this, now in all reality, what I ought to be seeing here is this is week 1 of alliances, right? Well, you know, in future weeks, your career points and your quota for the week have no relation to each other, right? And as time goes on, the relationship gets smaller, smaller, smaller. However, this is week number 1. They should be identical. Like me, 95%, 950. That is dead on. 100%, 1,000. That is dead on. 65%, 63.5. So that really should be 64%, but we'll give some slack for Kingside because they don't know how to do math. But we come down like this one. 175, 46%. What? What? This guy actually, no, actually is this guy. This guy was the one I saw earlier. 0 points, 40%. You're making my head hurt. Now, what is very likely is that this guy, because this guy joined late, this guy was actually in a different alliance and he got 400 points. But it's not supposed to follow him, right? It's like this column, the math actually does the correct thing. Well, actually this one's not actually correct. I believe that this, actually let's just check. Hold on, let's do this thing. Quota 40%. Prudy. Okay. So we need to find Prudy because Prudy says 40% here is 0 points. So we need to find him. He is not in that one. Not in that one. Okay. So this one he says he has 400 points. Whereas the members it says it's 0 but 40%. Which okay, so I'm thinking that the career point one is no good. This column is no good. I don't know where the hell it gets this number from. There's the issue of, well, if you're started in one alliance and you got some points and then you left that alliance and you moved to a different alliance, what happens with your points? Well, the stated thing on the forums, and these are really the mods more than the employees of Kingside, so it may, or you know, there's a chance I could be wrong, but the general idea is your whatever points you accumulate stays with your alliance. So if you were in an alliance for 3 days and you got 500 points, then those 500 and you leave that alliance, those 500 points stay with the alliance. If you join yet another alliance in the same week, you should start out as 0 because that alliance has 0. So I don't know. We'll see. I did check with this guy, the one I sent the ticket on, because I was like, oh, well, you're only like 3 pieces of cargo off, right? So go hit 3 pieces of cargo, and then let me know when you did it, and we'll see if your score changes. This score has not changed because it's done a check to say, oh, we're at 100%. We're not going to bother scoring anymore. So it's kind of goofed up. A lot of these though are right. If you just scroll down, you really look at it, kind of, I'm right, this one's right, that's right, right. Most of these are right. This one's wrong. I know he moved because he told me when we were joining it he came from different lines. More likely they know each other, so they probably moved together. So the quota, the percentage quota, really actually is probably picking up their prior work, and this is unique to this alliance. The rest of them actually look pretty decent. Gitman, I know him. I don't know him in real life, but I've known him in Battle Pirates for almost as long as I've been playing this game. He was in the original sector I was in. I actually, because I noticed him, he created his own alliance with his son, and so he probably had some points from them. So that's very likely what we're seeing here. And these are the people that will probably get trimmed off. What the hell? Oh yeah, that's the guy we already showed earlier. You know, we'll look at career. I'll look at career points and changes over time to figure out who stays and who goes. But we have actually a pretty good distribution in a way. Predominantly people that are at least in about the 40 range. You know, that's actually pretty good. You know, in all reality, you know, most people are not going to hit the quota, and that's, I totally get that. He was telling me he just sort of lucked out because he was his sector that has some really bad bases, and I'm going to hit my quota, you know, probably tomorrow, and get it done before it's due. So I think what you know, we're not going to be the dog alliance, right? We're not going to be the. Let me show you this one. So oh no, let's go this way. That's not right. Oh, that was by name. Okay. So you know, we're not going to be the dog or the lions or sort of alliance. However, not too far down. Actually, I almost joined that one because that's actually local to the same sector I'm in. And a good friend of mine joined. Oh, it's somewhere not too far down. I don't remember the name of it. Boondock something or another. Oh, there it is, Boondock Saints. So it's actually pretty close to the top of the page, but they only have 25 members. They're like sub 30 in these top numbers, where most people are 30s to 40s. That one is funny because if I can actually click on it, this one is funny because most of the levels are really friggin' high. You see, it's pretty much once you get down to I think 53 and above are the gunners, right? So you can see that they only have just a handful of people below outside the gunners group. So they got like a crap ton of points, but all they really did was made their gunners group, right? So if you're looking here, they made this one. They made their gunners bonus, but that's almost all of their members is what's in here, and they don't really almost have any points from here down. And that's going to hurt them over time. Yeah, they're always going to get this, but unless they start recruiting earlier people, they're not going to get anything else. And so what we're going to find in mine, because I really am not pushing high level people, is initially we're going to start slow, right? There's 10 people in here, and we're maybe what 30% into this thing, and there's 5 people in this one, and we're what, like 25% into this one. You know what? But as we collect total points and we level up, and we're allowed to have more people and more people. So if we're 30% here and we had 40 people in here, we'd hit the bonus. Right? With people doing, you know, 250 points per person, right? We'd hit it, and I think that over time it will work itself out. Over time, you will get a large enough number of people that even though not everybody hits their bonus, and predominantly most people don't hit their bonus, except for you kind of really expect these groups should be able to hit their bonus. You almost don't expect this down to ever be able to hit their bonus. And over time that should work out, but it's something that's going to take time. It's going to take a month or two or more to really start to see that come to fruition. You got to keep your member level up to make that all work out. So and this is going to fluctuate all the time. You know, people are going to come and go. They're going to come and go on their own admission, and they're going to come and go because I look at them over a 2 week, 2, 3 week, 4 week period, and they don't do anything, so I kick them out. So anyway, that's really all that's sort of going on. I got to finish up my quota so I don't get kicked out of my own group. And see that there's 10 points right there. And up, nope, that was not 10. Up, there's some more. There's another one. Ah, there's 20 points. Up, there's 25 points. There's 30 points. Ah, 40, 45, 50. Ah, see, I could finish my quota at Reno right now. So anyway, well, I'm tired of talking. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye bye.